Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the third ever episode of Locker Room Talk. I'm Ryan.
I'm Tyler.
I'm Robert.
I'm Brian.
I'm Sean.
And today we will be coming at you with our top 5 positions in offensive positions for today's NFL. Now, I personally know very little about the NFL, so I'm not going to be of much use, but my picks
It's all right.
made a list anyway. I did proper research, like any.
We're gonna be going from 5 to 1.
Yeah, we're gonna because
You
you know
guys
the
don't
top. It's just the top. That's it. That's all I have to say. So, in quarterback position, my number 5 was Dak Prescott, and hear me out. I know Ramos is already like, fuck. It's because he had the second most yardage in the entire NFL passing. He had 30 touchdowns, and he only had 11 interceptions all season, which is less than 1 a game. So I think that's pretty impressive. Number 4, I had Ryan Tannehill, who had the highest what does that say? I can't read my own writing, but he has the highest something.
QBR?
QBR probably.
Touchdowns per game? Who knows?
Nah.
Not me.
QBR
Probably
or percent,
Rating?
percentage
Maybe
probably.
I think it says rating. Maybe.
It's QBR. It's QBR.
He beat the Patriots. Another really important thing. And all season throughout the
Ravens
16
were a
games,
better win, though.
including the playoffs, he only had 6 interceptions. So I personally, less interceptions is better. It's great.
He didn't play the full season though.
Yeah, he didn't play the full season.
No, I'm including playoffs too, though, and he played in the playoffs.
Okay.
So, third, this is like kind of controversial though. We have Lamar Jackson because he's not really a quarterback. He's technically kind of a running back.
Oh boy,
Which is why he had the most touchdowns out of any quarterback, rushing or passing. Let me start from the beginning of Lamar. We're gonna start from there. We'll go back to here and then restart it here. So Lamar Jackson had the highest amount of touchdowns in the entire season, which I believe was 35, if my notes are correct. He had the most amount of passing yards, or yards in general. I don't know if it was passing yards. The website I used didn't really tell me. But
it's probably both.
Yeah, probably. And he had some of the fewest – he had one of the fewest interception ratings in the NFL. So I thought that was pretty impressive. That's why he earned a spot number 3. Number 2, we have Jameis Winston. Shut up,
Stop.
Tyler. Let me speak. Okay. I don't know about football. I went off stats. Jameis Winston has the most yards. So I lied about Lamar having the most yards. Jameis Winston does. Lamar's the second most.
Yards for both running and passing.
Jameis Winston had the most yards according to NFL.com. He had the second most touchdowns, passing touchdowns, not rushing. He did have the most interceptions, which was tough, but I feel like more yards makes up for that. A good offense is a good defense. And number 1 just was a gut feeling. I didn't actually go for stats, was Patrick Mahomes, because why not? He won a ring, so I figured it was worth it. He's pretty good, and that's my list. That's my top 5 QBs right now.
Nice.
No Aaron Rodgers, no Drew Brees, no Russell Wilson.
I thought I didn't think about Russell Wilson. He wasn't going to – Sean, come back.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at my list.
So Russell Wilson, I looked at him and I was like, nah. Drew Brees was a serious contender. I was thinking about it really hard. And Aaron Rodgers same, but then Bert was like, Aaron Rodgers. And suddenly I felt really bad about having him on my list, so I didn't have him on my list. And
really,
now you're
no Tom Brady?
for not having me on my list. So I'm confused. Tom Brady he had an off year this year, kind of. He's in his declining years, so I didn't have him on my list either. Anything else you guys want to?
Okay.
I don't agree with Dak Prescott.
I didn't agree with any of them except Mahomes.
And Jameis Winston. I don't think Jameis Winston should be a top 2 QB.
There's a reason why he's
my number 2 quarterback.
There's a reason why he's a free agent right now. No one wants him.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Okay.
You have a good point.
Well, I first thought that list was bad, and then when I heard Jameis Winston number 2, I was like, this is the worst I've ever heard in my life. terrible. He
If
led the
you
league
look-
in
Luck would be an
interceptions. He's
analyst.
nowhere
I
near.
went
NFL.
off of stats, Bert.
He's not going to start next year.
He's
most
probably
likely.
not. But
Yeah, he had a
these,
backup.
you cannot argue with the
Ryan,
facts.
Ryan,
And
look
the
this up.
facts say Jameis Winston is a top 5 quarterback.
You know what? He went based off of stats, so you can't argue with him. He
I-
saw 30 touchdowns. He just jumped on it.
That's the most amount of passing yards in the entire NFL, too.
How
I
do you know
saw
it's
that.
not his How do you know it's not his receivers making him look good?
Either way. I mean,
Listen, I heard a report saying he needs like eye surgery. If you look that
Yeah,
up,
he got eye
He did.
surgery.
He did have eye
Got
surgery.
eye surgery. He
guess
was
what?
colorblind.
Still had the most amount of yards in the entire NFL. So
John, he was colorblind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He can't see.
it's the friggin' wide receivers from the friggin' defensive players.
listen. I'm done taking your criticism. I went off of stats. And that's all I have
Yeah.
to say. That's
All right,
I'm
let's
done.
let's move on from
Let's
his
let's
list.
move on.
All right, who's next?
Who's next?
Tyler, you're up.
All right. So my list, starting at number 5, I have Drew Brees. I think he has one of the most accurate arms in the league still. Not the strongest, but still accurate. And I think he's going to be just as good next year. At number 4, Aaron Rodgers. I've always loved Rodgers. That man's a beast. I don't know what to say. I've seen some of his throws, and he was just throwing dimes last year. And I don't think that's stopping anytime soon. Actually, maybe in 2 years. He is getting older. Number 3, I have Deshaun Watson. Now, I've always loved Deshaun Watson, coming out of college. I even wanted the Dolphins to draft him, but obviously he didn't come to us. So I had to root for him on the Texans. But not this year because we have their pick next year. But besides the fact, I think he's one of the best dual threat quarterbacks in the league, and he's just a better Lamar Jackson, in my opinion. Number 2, Russell Wilson. That guy, he has one of the worst offensive lines in the league, and the way he's able to play, even with that terrible offensive line, is insane. The way how he's able to scramble out in the pocket, make plays, running and throwing, is just insane. And then number 1, obviously, Patrick Mahomes. Literally, no one's better than that guy right now in the league. He might be MVP again the next couple of years. So that's my list.
Hey, you know what? 1 out of 5 is not bad.
Yep.
Where's Lamar though? Why don't you put him on?
Yeah, you love Lamar.
No,
What do
I
you
really
mean?
like Lamar. I still need to see him play another year before I add him into the top 5. If he has another great season, then I'll add him. But right now, I don't think he. Well, I went
Him
more
and
based
Mahomes have
on
played the
arm.
same amount of years though. As a starter.
What?
Him and Mahomes have played the same amount of years as a starter.
Yeah,
though.
but Mahomes threw 50 touchdowns one year. Lamar didn't. And Patrick Mahomes has won playoff games and Super Bowls. Lamar hasn't won a playoff game yet. So.
That is
He's fast as fuck though.
And I actually think Deshaun Watson is a better Lamar Jackson. Because Deshaun Watson can actually throw the ball much better and much more accurate than Lamar. So. I don't know who wants to go next.
I guess I'll go next.
Alrighty.
All
right. Number 5, and possibly the most controversial, I went Matthew Stafford. Because I kind of the direction I took was he has one of the strongest arms in the league, and he's pretty accurate, and he has a terrible offensive line and not any good weapons besides Kenny Golladay. But he's always been a strong quarterback. He's always put up good numbers, but he can just never get into the playoffs because he has nobody else around him. Number 4, I got Drew Brees. As Tyler said, one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league.
He might be the accurate.
Always been overlooked at 5'11" or 5'10", however tall he is, but he's still an amazing quarterback. And then my 2 and 3, they could be interchangeable, but I went Russell Wilson. And
Jameis Winston, right? He was your number 2.
Yeah, Wilson at 3.
Yeah, I had Wilson at 3. Okay. Very elusive quarterback with a terrible offensive line. And his receivers are okay, but he still put up great numbers. 2, I got Aaron Rodgers just for the sake that you can never bet against him because like one thing you know, you think you neutralized him, and then next thing you know, he's burning you deep with one of those lucky Hail Marys.
Mm-hmm.
Then
Yep.
number 1, it's a consensus pick. Even Kohawi made this pick. We got Patrick Mahomes, the most elusive elite quarterback. The man was throwing it with his left hand accurately. He was throwing it not even looking at his receiver. His talent is unseen.
So Ramos, with Stafford as your number 5 QB, are you suggesting that the Lions aren't going for a quarterback in the draft this year?
I mean, I don't think they will, but the only reason why they might is because he's getting up there in age, and with the Lions roster nowhere near a team like the Packers, the Bears, or the Vikings, I wouldn't be surprised if they look to go in the direction of a future quarterback and maybe move Stafford. But
If you were the coach, would you move on from Stafford or would you keep him?
I feel like not this year because the Lions need to spend their top tier picks on teams to improve their roster. But I would see if maybe if you can next year or somehow in free agency get a good quarterback, but I would hold on to Stafford.
All right. I also like his strong arm. He's probably in my top 10. All right. I guess Bert will go next.
All right, sounds good. All right, number 5.
You mean Big Burr? That's his name.
Big Bert.
All right, so number 5, I had Aaron Rodgers for the reasons that Brian and Tyler pretty much said. He didn't have an Aaron Rodgers-esque season this past year. When I was making this list, I was thinking I'd rather have him over Sean Watson, Matthew Stafford, Dak, Carson
Like
Wentz,
what Stephen A.
whatever.
always says, he's a bad man.
Exactly. I would always take Rodgers over all those guys. So I had to put him at number 5. Number 4 is going to be Drew Brees. What more can I say? He's a beast. He's reliable at 40 years old, just whipping that ball. The only thing about him that was like kind of a detractor was his age, which is why I put Russell Wilson over him at number 3. I think Russell Wilson's a beast too. I mean, for a while, people were even talking about that Russell Wilson and Lamar Jackson were like neck and neck in the MVP race until Lamar just kept going and going and wasn't really a conversation anymore.
They gave it to the running back.
So
Yeah.
I put Russell at 3. Then I put Lamar Jackson at 2. I don't know where this Lamar Jackson slander is coming from. A lot of people are just going, oh, well, he's no good in the playoffs or whatever because he kind of blew it against Titans, I'll admit, and he didn't look too good his rookie year against San Diego Chargers Los Angeles Chargers. I wish they're in San Diego. I go to UC San Diego.
Got to plug your
so
college, Bird. I get it.
Yeah. So I put them at number 2. I put him at number 2. And I think that people are really ignoring all the stuff he did in the regular season because he was unstoppable. He's been unstoppable for the past 2 regular seasons, and hopefully this year he'll turn around the playoffs. Number 1, I went with the obvious Patrick Mahomes. He just does things with the ball that I've never seen before, and same. So I put him number 1.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think Lamar Jackson would still be an MVP caliber player if he couldn't run the ball?
No, probably not, but he can. So
That's the whole thing. You can't look at something that's like he obviously can do that thing though. So why would you overlook it?
Yeah,
I think he's a really good passer. But would he be MVP level? Probably not.
The way I look at it is like, for him, he's only going to be good for probably like 10 years, like until he's 30, 31, because once he's not able to be as dynamic as he is now, he's not going to be the Lamar Jackson that we know now. He's going to drop off real quickly.
He's only 22, so like there's still plenty of time.
Yeah.
For
10 years is still a lot of time, Tyler.
He hasn't won a playoff game, so I'm not putting him in my top 5. He needs to win a playoff game
He's
if he
played
wants
2
to be in my top
years.
5. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes won a Super Bowl, and he only played 2 years.
All right, so it's me now.
Yeah, go for it, Sean.
It kind of sucks that I'm last because everyone kind of said everything really well.
We could flip the order.
Yeah, you
The
can
next
start
position.
next time if you want.
All right. So for number 5, I had Drew Brees. I mean, He's like 40 years old, right? He can great accuracy. Didn't he beat Tom Brady for the most yards or something like that, or Peyton Manning?
Peyton Manning, yeah.
Manning with the most yards, right?
Yeah.
And he has some
Number
good
one.
weapons. They just signed Sanders, right, from 49ers.
Yes.
They're getting special with Michael Thomas, best wide receiver in my opinion, but and him, they're just gonna do magic. So number 4, all right, yeah, 4 I had Rodgers because man, when he gets the ball, you don't like he can have magic coming out. I don't know where he gets it from, but he's just special.
He's
Like,
got the magic in me.
He can't get him out. So, and then 3 I had Lamar Jackson only because he was insane this year. I mean, he broke Michael Vick's record from rushing yards as a quarterback. He's unstoppable. No one could stop him in the
Regular season.
regular season. In the playoffs, he kind of sucked ass, but he did. So, and then number 2, I had Russell Wilson because he can run and he can throw, and he didn't have that many weapons as a wide receiver, as a quarterback. So, and he still was up for the MVP with Lamar Jackson. I mean, Lamar Jackson had a good team around him, really. And then for 1, Mahomes, there's nothing you can say. He's just amazing. There's no words to describe him. He's
Just a god right now.
God right now.
All right. Leave a comment below on each of the strength of each of our lists. We want to
Who
read
made
those.
the best list?
Yeah, we want to
Let us
read
know.
those. Feedback is always the best.
Honestly, looking back, I probably would have switched Watson with Stafford, but
Looking back, I would have made Jameis Winston number 1, but
Oh my
All right.
god. All right, let's
Now-
go
Sean
running
B,
backs.
you said you hated going last, so we'll
Yep.
put you number 1 for running backs.
Good, because I
Time for
forgot
running backs.
to do my wide receivers. But
You forgot to do
We'll-
wide
we'll-
receivers?
We'll give you time then once we
Yeah, you can go
start
last for wide
receivers.
receivers then.
Yeah,
So
We're going running backs now.
5, I said Ezekiel Elliott only because he's pretty. I mean, I know he has a great line, but like he's a special running back. He can run. He can, he's just good.
Mhm.
Really lucky for this job. This is just
He eats.
4, I have Dalvin Cook. Pretty special player. Recently, he just said he was the number 1 running back, which I don't agree with. But he's very talented. Very talented. I think he came back from an ACL tear recently
Yeah.
last year, so
hmm
a lot of bugs to fix out, kind of, and stuff like that with his ACL. But he's doing good. Number 3, I have Alvin Kamara. He's pretty special in New Orleans. He can run. Dude, he's special. I wish I picked him for fantasy. I'm pretty pissed. And then number 2, I had Saquon Barkley. He's amazing. He's pretty much the whole Giants offense right now. He's amazing. And then number 1, I had Christian McCaffrey because he freaking rushed for a lot of yards and freaking catch the ball too as a running back. He also won flex this year, and he won as a running back for like the best in the league. So yeah, that's it.
Where the heck is Henry?
Derrick Henry?
Yeah.
I actually have him
Oh,
on my list too. I'm pretty sure he's the running back for the 49ers.
Titans.
Titans, that's what I meant.
Titans.
I knew he was a playoff running back. I
would
didn't
change-
write the names of the teams down of the players. Okay, I already said in the beginning of this video I don't know much about the NFL.
Okay, so what do you have to say, Sean?
I would try. Would you change Cooks for Henry or?
I would
Who's
change
your list?
Kamara for Henry at the
Who?
very least.
Me too.
I like Kamara a lot. I think he might be a top 10 running back, but the season he had last year would not put him in top 5 for me.
Okay. Anyone else?
We actually have a very similar list, Sean, which means that your gut feeling went with the stats. So I'm very proud of
Yeah.
you.
I did not look at stats at all. So.
I know.
Dalvin Cook pick was interesting. Very interesting pick.
I liked it though.
He did have a good season last year. I'll give Dalvin Cook that. I'm just worried about his legs for next year.
Yeah,
okay.
durability.
You can look all you want at the future, Tyler, but this is a right now list.
Yeah,
That's the
and
whole
right
thing.
now I don't know if he's gonna finish the whole season.
You can't
The
look to
upcoming
the
year.
future. It's
Yeah,
right
can
now.
see
You look
that.
back on
There's
his
lots
last
of
season.
bigs.
I view Dalvin Cook as like a
Top
a
15.
Jay Ajayi type player because Jay Ajayi also had knee problems coming into the league.
Okay,
He was
but
only dominant for like
I think he's
a
more
year or
talented
two.
though.
yeah, he's
Yeah, Dalvin Cook is obviously more talented, but I think he's going to be slowed down as well with his knee problems.
That's true. That's true.
And I don't think the Vikings should give him that fat contract that he's going to be looking for. I think they could find a better running back in the draft.
I don't know about that.
That's
About
tough. That's tough.
that
If you want to know about running backs, you can go to our first ever video, actually, because guess what? That's already up, and it is our draft. Oh, my God, my screen's shaking. It is our draft video, so you guys can hop over there, take a look at it, and see what we picked, what running backs may go. But without further ado, we'll give Bert his picks now, so it's his turn. Go ahead.
Okay. So Tyler, when
Always
I like
plug
this
yourself.
pick, and
That's a rule.
Tyler, when I like this pick because of the durability, and I admit that is a bit of an issue, but I put Dalvin Cook at number 5.
I don't hate it.
He's
I
an
still
absolute
like Dalvin
train
Cook.
for the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, there were many games where Kirk Cousins wasn't throwing the ball at all because Dalvin Cook was just destroying on the field, so they just kept hanging off the ball. He was insane. He was a big reason why the Minnesota Vikings made the playoffs this year. Number 4, I put Saquon Barkley. I mean, he's a beast. Just look at him. He has a terrible nickname, the Quad Father, but his quads are massive. So he's a beast, and he will be a force in the league for years to come, in my opinion.
Oh,
Number-
Ramos, I would jerk off to Saquon's quads.
Number 3.
Please move on.
I put Ezekiel Elliott. I think he puts up bigger numbers than Saquon. I'll admit he is part of a really good offensive line. But Ezekiel is a very, very talented player. He's a beast, and he's number 3. And in most other years, he might be number 1, but this year was a special year for running backs. Number 2, I put Christian McCaffrey. He acts like both a receiver and a running back. He's insane. He's dual-threat option as a running back, if you want to call it that. He's a beast, but the reason why I put him number 2 is because number 1, Derrick Henry, low-key carried the Titans team this year. They had other solid players, but the biggest reason why they made the playoffs is because Derrick Henry's legs, man. He can just carry it, and he can just run over anyone. So I put Derrick Henry number 1.
We had the same players on our lists, just in different order.
Yes. Derrick Henry had a year though. I gotta give it to him.
Yeah,
And it definitely was unexpected too. Like everyone knew he was talented, but no one knew he was gonna explode.
Well, except at the beginning of the year, he started kind of slow at the beginning.
He did, but he really powered through.
Yeah, but
the
it's
end.
not how
It
you
was
start.
Towards the end.
insane.
Ramos, do you want to go or do you want Tyler to go? What's up?
I'll go, but
Yeah, Ramos go.
all right. So at 5, I was doing a lot of. This one was a tough one because I didn't know if I wanted to go Kamara or Cook, but I ended up going Cook just because I was starting to like reevaluate both teams' offenses. And Minnesota, like their go-to was they would give the ball to Cook because Thielen as a small wide receiver, you couldn't use him as a vertical threat. Well, the Saints had their vertical threat in Michael Thomas as well as Tengen Jr. So like, and you have Breeze, so like Kamara's like usage was undervalued.
I'd
Then
like to
at
point
4
out that you guys may not know this, but Ramos said before we started that he was just going with players he had in his head, so he did not evaluate any of those things. He's
Like,
lying to all of you.
Yeah, 'cause I didn't look at stats. I didn't look at stats.
Just move on.
Yes, I didn't look at any stats. Like I didn't. 4, we got Derrick Henry. Took the league by storm this year. Reason why Ryan Tannehill can call himself a playoff winning quarterback because Derrick Henry was the whole offense. Ran through the Patriots and the Ravens. 3, we got Ezekiel Elliott. He's just an explosive running back, and he's he could also be used heavily in the passing game and behind one of the debatably the top 5 offensive line. Number 2, we got Saquon Barkley, the most elusive running back in the league. He'll always most likely make the first man miss, and because of the Giants' terrible offensive line, they had to give him the ball and give it to him early in different ways right across the field. And then number 1, we got Christian McCaffrey. He was always a great running back, but he finally made that jump to number 1 after gaining 35 pounds of muscle in the offseason. So he wasn't just a pushover where he was
Man, he's
breaking
huge, man.
tackles, stiff-arming people. So that's why he just brings that extra element to the table, and that's why he won the All-Pro selection, running back, and flex. And that's why I put him over Saquon.
I like that list.
It's a pretty
Pretty good
solid
list.
list.
I think it's solid.
Okay, so Tyler, it's your turn now, so you can go for it.
Okay. So in my top 5, my 5th running back hasn't been named yet, and I put Nick Chubb there because that guy is a bruiser. He runs over people. He's a freaking monster in the run game, and I'm pretty sure last year he was in the top 3 of averaging the most rushing yards per game. So he's not a bad running back. I think he's pretty good. Number 4, I have Derrick Henry because he literally put the Titans team on his back in the playoffs. Without him, Tannehill wouldn't have gotten paid. Let's be honest here.
Yeah.
Number 3, I got Ezekiel Elliott. Obviously, he's one of the best running backs still to this day, and he's been doing this for the past 4 or 5 years, however long he's been in the league for. And that's why he got a fat contract from Jerry Jones. Number 2, I got Saquon. I see him do insane things in open space. He'll literally, just like Ramo said, make the first guy miss like almost every time. And that's why I have him at number 2. And number 1, obviously Christian McCaffrey, going 1,000 receiving, 1,000 rushing. I'm surprised he didn't win Offensive Player of the Year this year. Should have went to him, not Michael Thomas. And yeah, that's my list. Top 5.
I just have one question for you.
Yeah.
As good as Nick Chubb is, and I'd say he's a top 10, but what in your mind separates Nick Chubb from the Alvin Kamara and the Dalvin Cook?
For me,
Especially
that's a good
considering the
question.
Browns' offense last year.
I was actually having trouble deciding between Nick Chubb, Kamara. Who's the other guy? Dalvin Cook.
Dalvin Cook.
For some reason, I just like Nick Chubb better than Dalvin Cook. Maybe it's because of the injuries, and like I'm not really with it. But I'm just like a huge Nick Chubb lover. I don't know why. And then for him, it was either him or McCaffrey for me. I mean, Kamara. I could have went either way, but I decided to put Chubb just because I felt like he was a much better runner this year for this past season.
All right, so it's my turn. Me and Bert, I mentioned this earlier. We had the exact same picks, just in different order. Shawnee B, we had the same except one. So I'm pretty sure a lot of us universally agreed on a lot. But my number 5 was Ezekiel Elliott. I really liked his play style. I know he's been doing a lot of really good things. He just didn't crack higher than number 5 for me because at number 4, I had Dalvin Cook. Even though he did get injured, and he stood out. He's a pretty good running back. Still ran over 1,100 yards. So still a pretty good, solid pick. Number 3 for me was Christian McCaffrey. I loved the way that he played overall. Number 2 for me was Saquon Barkley. I might have had him below McCaffrey, but you consider how important he is to the entirety of the Giants offense. So as like the team is only as good as its worst player, I guess, but it certainly is better because of its best player. And Saquon drove the Giants offense for most of the season, even if they only had 5 wins.
4 wins.
So he was number 2 for me. And number 1, I had Derrick Henry. I think he speaks for himself. He rushed average of 6 yards a carry. Ran the Titans into a decent playoff run. So that is my list. I'll now entertain any questions.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I think the reason I didn't have Derrick Henry higher was because he didn't have as many receptions as McCaffrey and Barkley, I think.
Right.
And for me, I just like Elliott better because I feel like Elliott averages 100 yards a game, like every game he plays. And for Derrick Henry, I've seen him have some slow games. Like the last game the Titans played, I don't think I really heard Derrick Henry's name at all when they were playing the Chiefs.
I don't mean to call you out, Tyler, but based on the stats, that's incorrect. Ezekiel Elliott averaged 82 yards a game.
Well, then a couple years ago. I don't know. Do you know how many yards Henry ran for in the playoffs?
I
So
do
am
not. I don't
I
have
think he was a big part.
those statistics, but I know they ran more than
'Cause-
they passed.
Tannehill barely threw in that Chiefs game.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure.
Because I feel like I didn't hear Derrick Henry's name a lot in
He
the
didn't, but
Chiefs
it was
game.
also because you probably heard Mahomes' name a lot more when they came back, and that was the whole second half was pretty much.
You know
all
that's true
Mahomes.
because the Titans were falling from behind. I think in the second quarter, so like the
I
Titans
think-
couldn't really run the ball at that point since they
Yeah.
were falling behind.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that did turn more to Tannehill.
Yeah,
All right.
which
So
is a terrible idea.
Tannehill, as you know,
One
Kill
first
him.
receiver.
pro receivers.
He ran.
it's wide receiver time, guys. Thanks for coming back after that really cool swipe transition.
Thanks for not clicking off this video if you haven't already.
Yeah, I'm surprised you haven't already, if I'm honest. But it's wide receiver time, and Brian Ramos was so incredibly excited to go first. He even texted it in our group chat that he had to go first. So it's his turn, wide receivers.
Let's hear it.
I mean, I meant to say tight ends, but I'll go first for wide receivers. So at 5, I
First
put Mike Evans. Probably not a surprise. He had a great year, and he's had a great career so far. And I feel like it just getting Tom Brady instead of Jameis Winston, his stats are going to go up tremendously.
I don't know, Jameis Winston's a pretty good quarterback.
No, he's not.
He's a top 5 quarterback for sure.
Number 4, this is probably going to be a tough reach for some people, but I put Julio Jones. The reason why I wouldn't put him top 2 or top 3 is because of touchdowns. Like, the man just – I don't know what Kyle Shanahan's running in Atlanta, but he just doesn't give him the ball in the red zone. He just struggles scoring. Like, he'll be amazing in open field, but the man just doesn't score. And touchdowns are very important in football. But going off of that, number 3, I got Tyreek Hill, probably one of the best at scoring touchdowns. Fastest wide receiver in the league. Played an incremental part in helping the Chiefs win a Super Bowl. And he's nicknamed the Cheetah for a reason. So, but number 2, I got DeAndre Hopkins. I wish I could put him at 1 just because of his talent and how he never drops the ball. Like, he only had, like, 1 drop pass, so, like, this season or whatever, like a very low number. But I just couldn't put him at number 1 because number 1, I got Michael Thomas from New Orleans. The man just went off and had himself a year. I'm pretty sure – I could be wrong, but I think he led the league in touchdowns or top 5, but – the man's a stud. Breeze always knew how to find him, and there pretty much wasn't one corner that could really, like, shut him down.
I like
That's
that.
your list was
I
pretty
agree with
basic for an exciting someone so excited to go first.
Well,
I
that's why
had
meant to say
I had almost all of them actually.
Yeah. You actually
Ramos,
made
who's your? Oh yeah, never mind. I
Who
started.
wants to go next?
I'll go next. All right,
Alright.
so my top 5. At number 5, I have Tyreek Hill. Obviously, like Ramos said, scores a bunch of touchdowns, one of the most dynamic receivers in the league. And the only reason he's not higher on my list is because I like my tall receivers. And Tyreek Hill's 5'10", 5'11", so it doesn't cut it for me.
Give
I
us
need
short
a
guys a
tall
chance,
receiver.
okay?
What?
Give us short guys a chance, okay?
I did. I put him at number 5. Number 4, I have Devontae Adams. Still think he's one of the top receivers in the league today. He's pretty good. Him and Rodgers, they have a great connection together. And Devontae Adams I think he had around 8 touchdowns this past year, and last year he had double-digit touchdowns. So he's been pretty good in the league. Number 3, Julio Jones. For me, if I had to throw the ball up to anyone, for me it would probably be Julio Jones because that guy's one of the best jump ball receivers in the league today. Number 2, DeAndre Hopkins. Enough said. He was the best receiver in the league not this past year, but the year after. He was the best receiver in the league, and he was still just as good this year. Number 1, Michael Thomas, who was Offensive Player of the Year. The man just catches everything. Nothing gets past him. And, yeah. That's my top 5.
Solid top 5.
Solid.
All right. Do you want me to just? I can go if y'all are.
All right,
Knock
let's hear it.
yourself out.
All right. So coming in at number 5, just as Tyler and Ramos said, I have Tyreek Hill.
Give the small guys a chance.
Yeah, definitely give the small guys a chance. Number 3, I have Jarvis Landry.
3.
No,
Skip
4. I skipped. I have number 4,
Hey,
Jarvis Landry.
Jarvis.
I just like him based on stats, and I like him as a player. Number 3, I had DeAndre Hopkins. Again, you guys talked about him already. He's great receiver. Great. Number 2, I have Chris Godwin. He caught 1,300 yards with an average of 15.5 every game, or every catch. And he only played 14 games, so he put up those really, really good numbers, not even a whole season. And then coming in at number 1, I got Julio Jones. Man put up 1,400 yards, a little bit more than that, but I rounded. Averaged about 15 yards a catch. Just a great all-around player, and I really like him. So that's my list.
Wait, where'd you put
Thomas
Thomas,
in there?
Chloe?
Who?
Michael Thomas, where'd you put him?
Did not have Michael Thomas on my list.
Oof.
DeAndre
Who's number,
Hopkins.
wait, who's number
Uh,
1 for you?
Number
Ron,
1
who's
was
number
Julio
Yes,
one for you?
Jones.
Julio.
Oh,
Julio. Oh, okay.
It's a
If
tough.
If
I
Julio
know.
had the
Look,
touchdowns, he would be number 1, I think.
I mean, it wasn't an awful list, but you should definitely have Michael Thomas on there.
Yeah, Michael Thomas is.
and
He
where'd
catches,
you have
like-
Hopkins?
DeAndre Hopkins was
Yeah.
3rd.
Yeah, he Chris Godwin too.
Yeah,
I don't know
Godwin.
if I
I
agree
feel
with
like
the Godwin either.
I feel like
think
if you go
Godwin's too high.
stats wise, Godwin's top 5. But then if you go by talent,
Yeah.
I can only go on stats. I don't sit in my house and watch every football game. Okay, I don't have the time for that.
You don't watch football to begin with.
I watched the Super Bowl.
Good enough.
So does every other person in
I
America.
Bert,
untrue,
you can
actually.
go
This
next
is the
with your
second
list.
least watched Super Bowl in 15 years. Had to do that stat for sport management. Don't come at me. So, yeah, based on stats, this is what my list is. And if you guys like it, cool. If you don't, I really don't
Mhm.
give a shit. But it's Bert's turn. So
I like the Jarvis Landry pick.
thank
I
you.
agree with that.
All right, number 5 might surprise you guys. I was really debating between a bunch of players. You got, like I said before, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, even like Devontae Adams, what Tyler put on his list. But number 5, I went with Amari Cooper.
You fucking idiot!
Yeah, fact.
I think Amari Cooper is a insanely talented wide receiver. I think he's a big reason why the Cowboys are at least like somewhat in the playoff race every year. I think he might have almost as big of an effect on the Cowboys as Ezekiel Elliott does, because Dak Prescott did not look very good up until Amari came in Dak's second season, and the Amari-Dak connection is obviously very special and very good, and I think that Amari debatably is a top 5 wide receiver in the league. Number 4, I went with Tyreek Hill. He's an absolute animal, fastest man in the league by far. When he catches it, it just goes and goes and goes. You can't stop him. You really can't stop him. With Mahomes throwing the ball, it's over. Number 3, I went with Julio Jones. Reliable. He's always a stud. Never has any off-the-field issues, unlike other diva wide receivers. Like, remember when it was him, Odell, and Antonio Brown? Well, Antonio Brown's gone, and Odell is
Fell off.
still
The
a
face
solid
of
Bill's
the earth.
player,
Odell. He's on the Browns.
but- yeah, exactly.
He fell off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
And went to the Browns.
Exactly.
No offense, Browns fans.
Well, technically, Antonio
Totally
Brown.
mean offense. If you're a Browns fan, you need to get
Relax,
your shit
Browns fans. I put Nick Chubb in the top 5 for running backs.
together.
Yeah, but that's
Right.
going to be the only
If you're a
Browns
Browns fan, get your shit together. Yeah.
The team
Hey,
still
get your shit
sucks.
together. I'm a Baker Mayfield fan too.
All right, so number 2, I had DeAndre Hopkins. He's a beast. I think it's going to be really interesting to see what the Cardinals do with him next year. It'd kind of be interesting if they actually made a playoff push just from adding him. That would be kind of insane.
You think Texans should have got a number 1 pick for him?
100%. It's a
Who the
terrible
fuck-
trade. It's
Terrible.
Who
terrible.
fucking
Ryan's
made
an
that
idiot.
trade? Why?
Oh, God. All right. Number 1, I went with Michael Thomas,
Obvious.
Offensive Player of the Year. He's insane. With Drew Brees throwing the ball, they're unstoppable. He just catches everything in sight. It's amazing. He's amazing. What more can I say? That's my list.
All right. I like that list. Except for the
Respectable
Amari
list.
Cooper one.
Yeah,
Amari
That's a
Cooper
little
got
iffy.
me.
I'm not gonna lie. Amari Cooper, I considered, but not very long.
I didn't consider him at all.
I didn't.
So Sean, it's your turn.
Shawnee B.
What are you so enthralled in that you're not even paying attention?
No, I am. So in my list,
If you comment
I
down
thought about
below that you want Sean kicked, 20 likes. 20 likes in the comment and Sean's kicked from the podcast.
Okay, you know what? Fine, I'll just leave then if you want me to.
We need to hear your list first.
Yeah, we have to hear your list.
So I was gonna go by stats, but I'm like, this guy only performed like 1 year, good year. Chris Godwin, as Ryan said, which kind of went by stats and not by actually watching him in the past. So for 5, I gotta say Tyreek Hill. That guy's insanely fast. In Madden, he's 100. What is he? 99 speed. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying in Madden, he's fast. And in the on the field, no one can catch him.
So you're saying John Ross should be in the top 5 as well?
No, he's not good.
fast.
He's not good. He doesn't catch the football though. There's a
I'm pretty
He has
fast.
99
Not gonna-
speed,
I
though,
should be in the
imagine.
top 5. I'm pretty fast too.
Ryan,
Bert
you
should
would
be in the top
10.
5. He was ranked for track. He's pretty fast.
So number 4, I have Evans. I feel like I don't know. He's what 6'4", 6'3". Yeah,
Yeah.
if you throw the ball up, he's most likely going to come down with it. Very talented player. I think he had over 1,000 yards this season. Special. So,
hmm
3, I had Julio. Even though he doesn't score touchdown or doesn't catch any touchdowns really, he's just a special player too. Gets open a lot. And number 2, I have Hopkins. That guy's a beast. I don't know why the Texans traded him or Bill O'Brien. His ass is on the line this year. I'm just saying. That was a stupid trade. But
Yeah,
he's
gave
amazing.
up 2 first-rounders, 2 second-rounders to the Dolphins for Tunsil.
And he didn't get a first round for Hopkins. That's
Yeah.
insane. He gave up.
That's crazy.
And you got
I
an
don't know.
injury-prone running back too. That no one even put in the top 5.
Yep.
Yep.
I don't know. I just don't know anymore. And 1, I had Michael Thomas because he has the most. He got the most receptions in the league, and he catches everything. That guy. So, yeah.
All right, good list. I think
Cool.
a lot less arguments this round than in the quarterback round.
I think we all agreed with the receivers.
Yeah, I think we had a general consensus. But Ramos, are you really excited for tight ends now? Because
Ooh.
I am excited for tight ends. I
because
really
you can
am.
just go honestly if you,
You can go
want.
first then.
All right, so this one could also end in a debate, but 5, I got Austin Hooper. The man had a great year in Atlanta. He just got paid with the Browns. Well deserved.
He's gonna fall off then.
But
He's
Since he
on
went to
the Browns
he's
now.
gonna fall
though.
off.
he could fall off, especially with having a Njoku with 2 tight ends, but the man's still a stud. He's even a good run blocking tight end. Number 4, we got Zach Ertz. He's just a great tight end all around. There's not really, with the exception of speed, because he's kind of slow, but that's his really only downfall. And number 3, we got probably the guy that pretty much did a complete 180 with his career, went from unknown player to superstar. I got Darren Waller from the Las Vegas Raiders. I was watching him in Hard Knocks and looking at his childhood story. And man, I love a good heartwarming story where he resurrected his career. Went from unknown to must want. Number 1 and 2, this was a debate going on in my head for a good time, but I went George Kittle
Me too.
from the Niners. I feel like it was very tough between the 2 and 2, but I had to use the postseason as an indicator and look at the stats from there. But number 1, I got Travis Kelce from the Chiefs. He was Mahomes' 1-2 punch with him and Hill and George Kittle. What didn't even lead the team in reception yards, it was Kyle Juszczyk, their fullback. So just goes to show you how undervalued he was. And that's why I put him 2 instead of 1.
It's a pretty solid list, I guess, except
Yeah.
I don't know about the must want from the Las Vegas Raiders. I don't know. I mean, I like the story. That's great, but
Darren
that doesn't
Waller's
affect how
stud,
good he
bro.
plays.
Darren
So
Waller's a stud.
Waller was pretty good this year.
I'll go next. I'll be completely honest. I did a lot less research for this one because you guys were yelling at me to hurry up so we could start the episode. So my number 5, I had Greg Olson from Carolina.
Oh my!
Yeah,
He's
I
not
listen.
on Carolina anymore.
I literally fuck it. I don't care. That's where
He's
it
a
gave
Free
me.
agent.
Whatever.
Okay. Well, he was on Carolina this year when he played. So shut up. Number 4, I had Jared Cook from New Orleans. Number 3, I had Zach Ertz
I don't know
from
if he's top
Philly.
5.
Number 2, I had Travis Kelce. And number 1, I had George Kittle.
Wait, you said me too when Brian said George Kittle was second.
Yeah, and Kelsey plays for the Chiefs, not the
But I said,
49ers.
what? Wait, what?
When Brian said that Kittle was number 2 on his list, and you said me too, as in he
I
was number 2 on
actually
your
thought
list
he
as
was
well.
going with his number 1, so I take back my statement. I'm very sorry. I really was not paying attention much.
And Kittle plays for the Chiefs, not the 49ers.
I didn't say he played for the Chiefs.
Yes,
On you
Can I
go.
go? All right.
Sean can go.
So I know this might be a stretch for some people, but for number 5, all right. So yeah, so I had Olsen. I mean, I know he's was hurt this year,
Both of you.
but now he's with Seattle with Russell Wilson, so he could
idiots.
hopefully rebound after that bad year this year.
You're tired.
Number
They
4,
don't use tight ends.
Did it-
The
They used
Seahawks don't really
Graham,
use
didn't
tight
they?
ends. Don't
they
they?
had
Don't?
Graham, didn't they?
They barely used him. He was
They
a
barely
ball.
used him.
If
4,
it's gone.
I had Hunter Henry and Los Angeles.
That's a solid pick. Okay.
He's not a bad player.
Oh, Hunter
He's from
Henry.
a
I
small
forgot about him
school.
actually.
Yeah. Number 3 I had Ertz. Wentz's favorite target this year. He lost pretty much his whole wide receiver core. I couldn't name any of them right now who started in the end of the season. Ertz has always been there. Number 2 I had Kittle. And number 1 I had Kelsey.
Solid list, Sean.
Thanks. Maybe
I like
Olsen's
the
a
Hunter
little,
Henry.
yeah, maybe Olsen is a stretch, or maybe shouldn't be on there. We'll
I
see.
thought you would have Darren Waller on the list because I thought you were a big fan of his.
Honestly, I didn't watch Hard
Ranger?
Knocks that much, but
Well, no, not because of Hard Knocks. Never mind. I thought you talked about
man
him
was-
once.
I probably did. Yeah.
Maybe it was Ramos. I don't know.
What?
Talk about Waller a lot.
That was Ramos.
Well,
That's
I
Ramos.
also because I had him in fantasy because I was buying the hype, and he was the number 1 ranked fantasy tight end. So
All right.
worked out pretty well.
Bert, you want to go first? Or you want me to go?
It's up to you. I don't really
You
care.
can go first. I'll go last.
All right. I'm going to preface this by saying I would include Austin Hooper on the list, but because he's going to the Browns, I'm kind of worried that his production is going to drop off. So this 5th pick may surprise you, but I think he's a pretty solid tight end. And I went with Kyle Rudolph. I know he's kind of old, and people were saying he was slow and that he's going to go downhill, but he actually had kind of a career resurgence last year with the Vikings, who he always plays for. Sorry, my emails just popped up for no reason. Anyway, Kyle Rudolph was a beast. Whenever Kirk Cousins was throwing, it wasn't always going to Diggs. It was also going to Kyle Rudolph. And Kyle Rudolph is actually the reason why the Vikings made it past Saints in the first round, because if you remember, he was the one who caught the game-winning touchdown pass. So I put Kyle Rudolph number 5. Number 4, I put Hunter Henry for the Los Angeles Chargers. Sometimes it's kind of a struggle for him to stay healthy, but when he is healthy, he's an absolute beast. I'm kind of worried about their QB situation, though, so I had to leave him at 4th because of the durability, and I don't know who's going to be throwing the ball next year with Phil Rivers gone. Number 3, I put Zach Ertz. He's a beast. He's always reliable. Always can count on him. Wentz loves throwing him the ball, and he's an absolute monster, especially with touchdowns. Number 2, I put Kittle. I put Kittle number 2 because he wasn't always he didn't always jump off the screen whenever you saw him play, but he was always very reliable, just like Ertz, and he was a beast for Jimmy G and the 49ers. Number 1, I put Travis Kelce because I think he's the best tight end in the league. He's Mahomes' favorite guy to throw to. I honestly think he loves throwing to Kelce even more than Hill, and Kelsey's a big reason why the Chiefs won the Super Bowl this year, so I put Kelce number 1. That's my list.
We all had the same top 3 people. I'm pretty sure. Unless Ramos, where did you put Ertz?
I put 4.
Okay, well then we had mostly the top 3 correct. Or
Yeah.
even. Except Tyler, we haven't heard your list yet, so
Yep. All right. So number 5, I have Austin Hooper, just because he had a pretty good year last year. I think he was like the top tight end until he got injured last year. Number 4, I have Darren Waller, like Ramos. I love a good comeback story.
Mm-hmm.
Man was a beast last year, and I think he's going to continue dominating next year. 3, I have Zach Ertz, because he's also a really good tight end. And he has a hot wife. So he's high on my list because of that.
that's why he should be
Can't
up
argue
there.
with that. Can't argue with that.
Can argue.
Number 2, I got Travis Kelce, also a dominant player. And number 1, I have George Kittle, mainly because when I watch Kittle, he's a really good receiving option. Plus, he's just as dominant in the running game. He's like the best run blocking tight ends in the game right now. And that's my list.
Fair.
All right, pretty solid list, everyone. I'm very proud of all of you. Good work.
I'm proud of you too.
Yeah,
Let,
good
let
job,
me
guys.
go with the offensive lineman first.
You want to go lineman over kickers?
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
go
let's do
lineman
lineman
first.
first.
But
Okay.
let me go first for lineman.
Go for it.
All right, number 5. I got the Philadelphia Eagles.
Eagles.
I put them higher.
Now, obviously, none of us know much about who the best offensive line is, but I feel like the Eagles have a pretty good offensive line with Lane Johnson. He's one of the best tackles in the league, so you got to have the Eagles in there. Also, they made Miles Sanders look like a really good running back this year. Number 4, I have the Titans. With the Titans, they have a really good run blocking offensive line. Pass blocking, they're kind of suspicious. So that's why I have them at 4 instead of higher. Number 3, I got the Dallas Cowboys, obviously. I believe they're top 5 for all of us. If you guys can agree.
Wrong.
Because
Oh,
you don't
boy.
have them in their top 5?
I did not.
Wow.
What the
I really like Tyron Smith and Zach Martin. They're both always in the Pro Bowl, so you can't go wrong with them. Number 2, I have the Saints. And I put the Saints there just because I feel like I never see Drew Brees getting sacked. And they also made Latavius Murray look like an absolute beast when he was starting when Kamara wasn't playing and he was injured during the year. And number 1, I got the Indianapolis Colts because I think Anthony Costanzo is a really good tackle, and them picking up Quinn Nelson was a really good pickup, and he's like the best guard in the league right now. And they had the best celebration out of any other team, the offensive line. So that's my list from linemen.
Good list.
We happen to have one team that was the same. You'll figure that out when I go. I'm not going to give away
Okay.
spoilers, but I already saw Bert when I said I didn't have Dallas. I saw him giving me eyes there. So I'm telling you again, this was the last one I did, and they were yelling at me to hurry up so we could start the video. So
I'm
we have
already
10 minutes again. All I did was look at who had the least amount of sacks. I didn't really take in run game as much as I should have. But I went on who had the least amount of sacks in the league, and that leads us off with the number 5 defense, or the number 5 O-line in the NFL. It's the Baltimore Ravens. They did a decent job protecting what's his name? I forget. I don't care. Don't correct
Lamar
me, 'cause again,
Jackson.
shut up, because I don't care.
Mark Ingram.
But again, they had the least amount of sacks, one of the least amount of sacks in the NFL. Following them very closely, Minnesota. They had a pretty good pass block, an okay run block, not great, but it was better. It was good enough to put them at
They're
number
more
4
of
on
a
my
running
list.
team, though.
What?
Yeah,
They're more of a running team, though. So
they
Listen,
did better blocking the
I
run.
went on sacks, and it just so happens that they were tied actually for number 4.
in what run?
in sacks, just the least amount of sacks.
Oh,
I'm telling you, that's
Kirk
all.
Cousins
I
had
literally
good
said
weapons,
that 3
though,
times.
to
That's all
throw
I
to.
went on my list for.
It's like they were always open.
wait. So how do you
all
know
the way.
anything about the run then? If all you did was based on sacks.
Passing is more exciting, so passing is all we care about.
Okay.
Get the fuck out
Um,
of here.
Number
Can't argue
3. Number 3, we have New Orleans. Their line is pretty good. A really good run game. Really, very few sacks. So overall, pretty good. Number 2 is Kansas City. They, again, second most sacks, second least amount of sacks in the NFL.
They
Their
have
run game
Patrick
was still pretty
Mahomes,
good.
though.
We saw that in the playoffs, but they didn't really need it as much because they had Patrick Mahomes. The number 1 offensive line that I went with was the Los Angeles Rams. Are they Los Angeles anymore? Yes, they are.
Yes.
Yeah, they were San Diego before.
Yeah. No. they were
No,
not San
they were
Diego.
St.
St.
Louis.
Louis.
Yeah, they
What
were
are you
not
Oh, I
San
thought you-
Diego.
My bad. I'm not paying attention to what you're saying.
You know,
I only
Clearly.
know that because their new logo is ugly as shit. Comment below what you think about the Rams' new
Looks like a
logo. But
penis.
they have the least amount of sacks in the NFL. Their run game is okay. It's pretty solid. So that's my list, 1 through 5. I didn't take into run at all, Bert. I know you're like, oh, but the run is it's not. Passing is exciting. Passing is why people watch.
But the Vikings
Shut
were a
up.
run
I
team.
don't
They're a
care.
run first team.
I don't
Yeah.
care.
Who
I
wants
still
to go
don't
next?
care. We only
I'll
have
go
7
next.
minutes, so Ramos, hurry up.
All right. Well, mine were fairly identical with Pulawi for the most part. At 5, I got Baltimore Ravens. They did a great job at passing and at blocking for Lamar Jackson. They even helped Mark Ingram and Alex Collins. 4, I got the New Orleans Saints. They protected Drew Brees as you have to when you have a 40-year-old quarterback and helped Kamara and Latavius Murray in the backfield. 3, I got the Kansas City Chiefs. They did a great job at protecting their investment. Patrick Mahomes led to a Super Bowl. 2, I got the Dallas Cowboys, as they've always been a great offensive line, protecting for Dak Prescott and making Ezekiel Elliott an elite running back. And 1, I got the Los Angeles Rams. As just dynamic from left tackle all the way to right tackle, probably the most complete offensive line in the league. And yeah, it's my top 5 for O-line.
Okay, I could just list it.
Yeah,
Alright,
we only have 6 minutes. This is probably gonna be the last part. We're
Okay.
just not even gonna bother with kickers. Everyone understand that the number 1 kicker is Justin Tucker, right?
Yep, Justin Tucker.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay, so we don't even
Okay.
need to go over kickers. So
Okay.
go ahead, Sean.
So for me, just because they protected Mr. Pretty Boy, Tom Brady, I have the Patriots as number 5.
Pretty boy.
Number 4, I have the Saints. 3, I have the Ravens. 2, I have the Eagles, and 1, I have the Cowboys or Cowgirls, whatever you want to say.
It's not a terrible list. I wouldn't argue too
Good
much
list.
with it.
Yeah. Pretty good.
All right, I'm up.
Yeah,
All right.
Bert.
So number 5, I had the Indianapolis Colts. There's a reason why they signed Philip Rivers, an old QB who cannot run. It's because they have a really good offensive line to protect him. So I put them number 5. Number 4, I put the Saints. They've been keeping Drew Brees safe for years. He almost never gets sacked. And so I put the Saints number 4 because you got to protect a 40-year-old quarterback, you know. Number 3, I put the Cowboys. The Cowboys used to be, in my opinion, the best offensive line in the team, but they're kind of getting a little older now, although Smith and Martin are still tremendous linemen. So I put them number
Martin
3.
retired.
Number 2, what?
Zach Martin retired. He
Oh,
had like
you're right.
leukemia or something.
But no, that was Travis Frederick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Martin's still there. It's Martin and Smith. Okay, I was right. Anyway,
Yeah, my bad.
the Ravens I put number 2 because they do a great job blocking for Lamar Jackson. If Lamar Jackson wasn't behind that great offensive line, he probably wouldn't be able to run the ball and throw it as well as he can. Number 1, I put the Philadelphia Eagles. All 5 of their offensive linemen graded as top 10 in their respective positions. So I think that it's hard to go against that. And they're absolute beasts. They got Kelsey, Peters, and Lane Johnson. They're insane. So I put them number 1. That's my list.
All right. Overall, I think we had some pretty diverse lists actually, but I think The only one we really agreed on was running back. We had a lot of really similar picks.
I think wide
Um,
receiver too.
Yeah, wide receiver
Bert,
is pretty close.
Yeah, receiver.
Bert, I just have a quick question for you. Since you mentioned it with the Eagles, what do you think's gonna happen with the whole Jason Peters situation? Do you
What
think
do
he
you mean?
comes back? Like, because he said he wanted out in Philly, and he's like
I
still
know.
a free agent. Where do you think? You think he comes back? Like they work something together?
I think he'll come back. To be honest with you, I don't see him leaving.
Yeah.
Wait, Tyler,
I
I
don't
had a
see Miami
question for
giving him
you.
as much. I think the
Yeah.
Eagles are going to offer him a lot of money.
For the Titans, do you think the losing Conklin is gonna matter?
I
the
think it
offensive
will a little bit. I think it's going to affect their
Over-
run game a little bit for them
Alright.
because he was a really good run blocker. Pass blocking, he was okay, but run blocking is definitely going to affect them. The only reason I didn't put the Ravens in there was because they lost Marshall Yonda, and I don't know how they're going to fare with that because I know,
That's a
was
fair
like-
concern.
yeah, because he was like the best guard in the league for the past couple.
All right,
They still have
so
Ronnie Stanley.
that's our list. So we are done. We unfortunately do not have any more time for you guys today. We'll have another video coming to you Thursday, I believe. You can check that out when it comes out. We'll post the link to the other 2 videos down below in the description. If you're not already a subscriber, make sure to hit that button below, Shawnee B. And if you want Shawnee B off the podcast, give that like a slap.
Yep. Hit that like button.
So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will see all of you next time. Peace.
Probably not because no one
Later.
really watches these videos. But okay.
I'm cutting that
Cut
part
that.
out.
We're
Cut
kicking
that.
you off, Sean. You're done.
Sean, you're
Sean's
done.
officially kicked out. Give him the snip. Goodbye.
Got the snip, guys. Yes.
Bye.
Peace, boys.
Bye.